everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Onnnn Block podcast. It is Sunday, November 17th, 2024. I am Nordic with LeBlock James. LeBlock, how are we doing?
Fantastic, as always.
That's good to hear. Yeah. That's good to hear. Good to hear. So, first off, I want to start off with big win by the Bills today, upsetting the Chiefs. Chiefs are 9-1 now. Just took that. Dethroned them. Love to see it. Well, they didn't really dethrone them, but they gave them a loss, so that's a good thing at the very least.
America won. America won today. That's what's important.
America won. Yeah, we love to see that. How's the Grey Cup going right now?
I have not. Last I saw, Winnipeg was up 7-0. I can pull it up. Actually, give you the score real quick. Blue Bombers are up 34-16.
In what quarter?
It is the.
Are you sure that it says the Argonauts are up 34-16? On mine.
Well, now it's not even updating. So.
Oh my god. Yeah, it says for me Argonauts are up 34-16 with 2:49 left in the fourth quarter. So, yeah, pretty cool thing there. All right. Let's move on to hockey. That's what you guys are here for. And we had the Nord Blockpod Bowl, which means my favorite team, the Philadelphia Flyers, played against LeBlock's favorite team, the Ottawa Senators. So let's talk about that game a little bit, to be honest. And LeBlock, I'm just gonna say it: the Flyers had no business beating you guys in this game. Just saying it right now.
You don't think all we're saying that in the arena when we saw it happening?
Yep.
Yeah.
LeBlock was also there, by the way, so that makes it even funnier.
So this is the type of game where Ottawa was in that in the early stages of the rebuild. That's the kind of game that Ottawa they had no business being in, and they somehow would end up winning the game. That's what it reminded me of a little bit from Philly's standpoint. From Ottawa's standpoint, I hate to throw blame on goalies, I really do, but Omar just played brutal.
Yeah, he didn't look that good. You look at the shots, 37-19 in favor of Ottawa. Ivan Fedotov was in net too for Philadelphia. You start off in the first period, a goal from Travis Sanheim, then a goal from Brady Tkachuk ties up the game to end the first period. And then you get to the second period where they exchange goals again. Batherson gets a goal to go up 2-1 on the power play, and then Konechny gets a goal to tie it up. Then you get to the third, and the Senators just seem to, quote-unquote, run away with the game. Josh Norris picks up one to make it 3-2 with 4:27 into the first. And then Adam Gaudette, who has 7 goals this year, has scored with just a little bit under halfway to go. And, it looked like they had the game 3-1 with about 9 minutes left, and then Philadelphia just started coming back. So what was it like witnessing that?
So, I'll be honest, as soon as Philly tied it, I think all of us in the said Philly's gonna win. We know how this goes. But me being the optimist that I am, I mistakenly, but I unfortunately put $50 on Ottawa to win the game.
You put 50 on Ottawa? Oh
I've cleaned out the account. If I put it on Philly, I probably would have won more money. But yeah, money. I always say this. I'll take the point. I will take the point. But at some point, you need those are games you got to win. And for Ottawa, I think Ottawa deserved to win the game. They deserved the 2 points. But just poor play from goaltending. When Armagedon had a lot of where he didn't take the shot for at least 8 minutes twice.
Yeah, there were a couple. Well, actually, not even halfway. You were done the second period, and Philadelphia only had 7 shots through the first 2 periods. Which, by the way, they had 2 goals on those 7 shots too. So then you head down towards the end of the third. Anthony Richard, who came in when Michkov was scratched, has earned himself a spot on this roster now. He makes it 4-3, not even that long after Gaudette picked up one. And then Bobby Brink scored with, I think, 55, or he scored with very little time left in the third. Actually, I'm reading this wrong. Never mind. 8 minutes left in the third. And so it wasn't a little time. But Brink ties the game up, and then Michkov scores in overtime with 55 seconds left in the overtime from an impossible angle. I did not think that was going in when I was watching the replay. But Michkov wins it for the team. 3 stars. Michkov was the first. Josh Norris was the second, and Travis Sanheim was the third. And the the 3 losers of the game, Linus Olmark was number 1. Sorry.
Yeah, we were sitting behind the net too. So we saw it going. So basically our seats are where Ottawa's upper deck is basically, it's like you're above the second deck. So like second deck is a little, like it goes up here. Ottawa's front deck's more pushed out. The second deck's more pushed in. So you're basically you're basically sitting. And if you're low there, you're basically right on top of the net. So you see it go in. You're like, fuck. I usually I stay for the free start. After that, I just we all just got up like immediately and walked out and left. Like we were, like I was just not a great game. Not a great game from obviously the back end, but like Ottawa, you got to learn to win those games. I always say good teams find a way to win, and they need to. It is what it is. We'll obviously get another chance to face Philly again in the future this season. That's one I think they're gonna be kicking. They're gonna be, we should have had that one. If you look at teams that are in the race, let's look at. I hate to throw stones at Detroit, but
no, you don't. No, you don't.
But they missed by 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
And like if you and that's where if you won any of those overtime games, you're a playoff team.
Yeah. There are 2 more games in the Nord Block Bowl, but we won't have to talk about this again until March. That's when the next one is.
March?
April. Yeah. The next one is until March.
Wow.
March 11th. I think it's in Philly too, but regardless, it's going to be a while before we see these 2 teams play again. And ironically enough, LeBlanc, they have the same record as of right now. Just Philadelphia has 1 extra overtime loss. Basically the same. Just Philly, I think, played an extra game. So, thought that was interesting. It's funny when our teams play each other, but something we'll definitely look forward to in the future. All right, let's move on to one of the bigger pieces of the week. Ryan Reaves doing what he does best. He was suspended for 5 games on a illegal check to the head on Darnell Nurse. LeBlanc, I think this is the fair penalty. We'll go through this. We'll go through the play in a second, but do you think this is the right call?
Yes. Should Nurse have? I love the defensive, like, that's clean. Nurse didn't have his head up. He should have his head up. Yeah, you also can't go around hitting people in the head.
Okay, his head's not sure. His head's down, but that doesn't get. It's free game to hit him in the head. Then
that's the one thing I always don't understand. That's not a defense. Regardless, you're responsible for your own body and your own stick in play.
Yeah.
So Reaves, you can tell that Reaves probably didn't mean to hit him in the head, but it happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't look.
I don't think he meant to.
Yeah, it doesn't look intentional at all. I think he just miscalculated where Darnell Nurse was going to. I think probably going to circle around the net and have his head up, and then go for maybe hit in the shoulder, hit on the stick. But it happens, and I feel like the player safety got this right. Though for a repeat offender, you could argue that maybe he should have got a little more. But I think 5 games is perfect. I think it's fine by my standards. Just as well served. Talked to my Leaf fan friends about this. They say, you know what? Advantage us. Revo's not in the lineup.
Yeah. Well, I will say this: you want to get these kind of hits out of the game. We talked about Tanner Jeannot last week. That's another example of hits you don't want to have in the game. And additionally, too, there's gonna be people who are like, oh, it's stupid. The league's gotten soft. Those hits are dangerous. You see how CTE and all, well, maybe not CTE, but concussions and all these other injuries are a big thing when it comes to head contact. So you definitely got to keep that in play, and hits to the head should never happen. It should be shoulder-on-shoulder contact all the time, regardless. So That's kind of where I stand with it. Again, with Nurse, sure, maybe his head should have been up. You can make that argument for almost every single other hit that's had head contact in it. But again, it doesn't give you free reign to hit someone in the head.
Exactly.
So
And like I get what people are saying, like, oh, they're hockey's gone soft. Well, every time they have something that's at the they have a Sens commercial on TV where they show Chris Neal saying, where were you when things got heated? And it's just him like, just blowing through guys, like hitting guys left and right. I show it at the arena too. I look at those clips, I'm like, wow, that's super super illegal hits nowadays. Like
oh, for sure.
yeah. So like obviously the game's going to evolve. The game changes over time. We've seen this throughout many sports and throughout, like, obviously there's gonna be new rules in place. Like you look at the NFL, they have the new kickoff to help prevent head injuries, which is a good thing. I
Yeah.
will say this: it's good. I'm not against hitting. I'm not against fighting. Um,
Oh,
but
neither of us.
we're not. But when it comes to like the head, if you're hitting in the head, concussions are a serious problem. Like we said, CTE. CTE is probably the most dangerous thing for your head. They can't diagnose it until after you've passed. That's how CTE is basically hidden until you're gone, and you don't know if you have it till you have. Once you have CTE, it's kind of too late. So
Yeah.
I think protecting the players is to be the most important thing in the game right now, and I do think that in the past, player safety hasn't really addressed that correctly. But I
Yeah.
think this is the right call.
We'll see if they're more consistent in the future with things like this. But again, I think that player safety got it right here. Again, you could even argue that there's more games. He is a repeat offender. He is Ryan Reaves. But then again, this is a player who has been rotating out of the lineup the last couple of games so far. So honestly, it's not that big of a loss for Toronto. I think Nurse is okay, right? I haven't heard anything bad about Nurse.
I heard Nurse is okay. I'm not 100% on that though.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. He did apologize to Nurse, which is a very good and sportsmanlike thing to do for sure. But yeah, that's about all we got on that. Let's move on to Connor McDavid. We're going to give a little bit of a round of applause here for McDavid. He has hit 1,000 points in his National Hockey League career. Pretty incredible, to be honest. I think you got to give him a lot of props. He did this despite facing shortened seasons with injuries and COVID playing huge factors there too. If it weren't for those seasons and hypothetically he plays all of those games, he's probably at 1,300 by now.
You could
In his
argue that, yes. Yeah, COVID season really like sick. Though he was like over point per game in the COVID year too.
He
So
was. In the one he's only I let me look at his stats real quick. He's only had less than 100 points two times in his entire career. The first time was his first season where he got injured for half the year. Then the second time was where he missed some games and the season was cut short. But LeBlanc, he had 97 points in that season, so he
mhm.
practically had 100 points. Basically, you give him even two extra games, even one at that, and he hits 100 points. Every single other season, including the shortened season in 2021, he's at 100 points.
Mm.
It's simply really impressive what he's been able to put together in his entire career. I think he could get even more. Like he's gonna shatter 1,500 points. Shatter.
Yeah,
You
no,
know, very few guys have done that.
if he keeps it up, you could see in the next, you could argue maybe 4 years he keeps up because he's scoring like what 125 a year averaging the past
Yeah,
couple years. If he can keep that pace, averaging 125 a year, he's going to hit 1,500 by he's 27 now, right? So he'd be
he
third.
did.
Yeah, he should be 31 by the time he hits 1,500. And that's crazy to me to talk about McDavid turning 30. That makes me feel so old.
Yeah, so all time there have only been 16 players who have reached 1,500 points. Two of them being Sidney Crosby and then Alex Ovechkin as well, who are both close to milestones too. Crosby's almost at 600 goals. Ovechkin's almost at the freaking goal record. But only 16 players have reached 1,500 points. Only seven players have reached 1,750 points, and then again, only one player has reached 2,000. And I think McDavid can reach 2,000. telling you right now, I think it's really possible. Unless if we see injuries or more shortened seasons, I think he's on. I think he can
Yeah,
get 2,000.
I'll agree with you there. I definitely agree with that 100%.
No, I don't think that he gets close to Gretzky's record of almost 2,900 points, but I think that he can definitely crack 2,000 and become the first player to do so, or the second player to do so in this era. All right, anything more on McDavid before we get into how the Atlantic is just in shambles right now?
He's him. That's really all you can say. Like, he's the best player in the world. That's all you got to
He
say
is
about it.
by far best player in the world, without a doubt. Okay. So I feel like we talk about the Atlantic Division every single episode, but because we have a podcast with a Sens fan here, we kind of have to do so. The Atlantic is just, it seems like, LeBlanc, what's the best way to describe the Atlantic in like 3 words or less?
What happened? Like, that's
Yeah.
really, because like we in the summer we talked about the Atlantic Division being this like, oh, the toughest division in hockey. It's the closest division in hockey. Almost every team in that division you're going to see competing. You're going to see in the race. Maybe outside of Montreal, every team in the 1 through 7 can compete. I do want
I would
to.
say that's true.
Like, I think we said like at least six of the 8 we're going to be competing.
Yeah, I would say that's still true
So
right now.
I want to go. It's still early. We're close to American Thanksgiving, which is usually the threshold for if you're in the playoff. If you're in a playoff spot,
Yeah,
you usually make the playoffs. If that's the trend that you follow, like 90% of the
yeah,
time. And if you're out of the race, you're out of the race. Like, it's really hard to
right.
come back from that. So
So let's start at the bottom of the Atlantic Division. Let's kind of go through every team here. I know you might want to go around, but let's go through every team here first.
sure,
Montreal.
I was gonna do the same in
Oh,
Montreal.
never mind.
Yeah,
I'll sit back. There
yeah,
you go.
Montreal, and I don't want to. I hate throwing stones because I want to be kind of neutral on this, but like Montreal's been one of the worst teams in the NHL so far. At one point they were last.
They are tied. Yeah, they were tied for last at one point. So yeah, it was a brutal start,
Yeah,
and I think we knew this was coming too.
yeah, they were last last night before they beat Columbus. If they didn't beat Columbus, they would be last.
Right.
We're looking at 6 wins, 10 losses, and 2 overtime losses for 14 points in 18 games.
What has really been notable for me, like first off, there are positives. Cole Caulfield looks great right now. Suzuki looks good. Suzuki could make the Four Nations team. Be honest with you, I don't think Caulfield makes America because of just how stacked America is. To be
Mm-hmm.
honest with you, we haven't made our Four Nations rosters yet. I think that might be something we do soon.
Yeah.
But I would say those are positives. Some of the negatives I've seen. Lane Hudson's a positive and a negative. I see how he's moving the puck very well and he's getting points, but just defensively, this kid he's getting embarrassed. And we knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
I said this in the offseason, but it's really become noticeable, especially on Twitter, a lot. A lot.
Yeah.
And I know LeBlanc can speak a lot on this, but it's funny for me because I have no dog in this fight. Well, I guess I kind of do because I have Mitch Goff on my team, but I kind of just sit back and watch the Sens, the Wings, and the Habs fans fight over each other with their blue lines. I'll see Sens fans going at Lane Hudson. I'll see Red Wings fans going at Sanderson. I'll see Habs fans going at Sider. It's all so much fun to just watch, and it's honestly incredible. But yeah, that's one of the things I've noticed with Montreal so far.
Here's the thing. I like watching Lane Hudson play. He reminds me a lot of I don't want to say he reminds me of Makar, but he reminds me a little bit of like Erik Karlsson, but like Erik Karlsson now. Like Erik Karlsson when when he was not playing defense. A lot of times I've watched Lane Hudson play, and I'm like, brother, why are you behind the opponent's net?
He should be a forward.
He should be.
He should be a forward.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Um.
He's young. First off, he's young. I think he just needs to get some defense into his game.
I've seen a lot of tweets and a lot of fun ones. It was like, well, Lane Hudson's gonna put up maybe like 55, 60 points, but he's gonna be a minus 100.
That's not impossible, honestly.
Because like
He's racking up points.
He's racking up points, but like he's getting embarrassed defensively.
Yeah, that's and the thing is though, the NHL doesn't really look at defense. So like when you're looking in terms of the Calder.
Yeah.
So,
but like here's the thing. For me, like I always tell, I think you know this, my standard for defense, if you're a defenseman, you need to play some sort of defense. You could be bad at defense, sure, but you need to show that you can play defense. And Lane Hutson has shown me right now that his defense needs some improvement.
I think we're spending a lot of time on Lane Hutson and criticizing the fact that he can't play defense, but he is young.
And I will say, like, he's really good at offense. He's a really good skater. Like, I like watching him play, but like, you could tell, like, he's not ready for a top 4 role.
I don't think so either. I think, like, honestly, first off, you're going to need another really good defensive partner with him. It's like Cale Makar and Devon Tays. You want to cover up your spots with Makar, because Makar will be joining the rush a lot.
Yeah.
But I feel like Hutson, in order for him to stay in the NHL, he needs to develop some sort of defensive game.
Yeah.
Like, he needs to at least, again, like what you said, you need to play some sort of defense at some point.
I'm going to say this. Erik Karlsson didn't really, like, establish himself, like, fully until he got the right partner. Like, Mark Maffatt, it traded for Mark Maffatt, and Mark Maffatt kind of, solidified his role as Karlsson's partner. And so if Karlsson wasn't playing defense, Maffatt was playing very good defense. Maffatt was making sure he was in the right position. But, like, so I agree with you. Like, if he gets the right partner, he could be very good. Like, you look at Makar and Taves, they work seamlessly together.
Yes.
But
I agree.
Yeah, Montreal. It talks about Marty St. Louis possibly on the hot seat. I don't know if that's entirely true. Slavkovsky seems to have taken a step back or has been demoted in his role. He was on the 4th line last night.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of question marks around Montreal. I don't expect. I'll be honest. This is where I expect them to either be here. I expect them to be where the next team is on this list, in the Atlantic standings, and we'll get to them right now.
Yeah, let's move on to the Detroit Red Wings, who were in the race at the beginning of I shouldn't say they're out of it now, but they were looking at a better spot at the beginning of the week and even after Wednesday against Pittsburgh. But now they're on this California road trip, and man, they just.
We were in. I went to the Sevens game on Friday, so we went to one of the bars nearby after the game. We were watching the Red Wings with the Ducks, and we're like, wow. Like, the Red Wings defensively are just a mess.
I don't know what it is.
Like, losing to Anaheim, I don't want to say it's, like, unacceptable, but, like, you're better than the Anaheim Ducks.
You blew a 3-1 lead.
Yeah.
That's to Anaheim.
Yeah,
that's unacceptable.
It was like, what, 6-4 the final? It was like...
Yeah, it was like 3-1.
But I don't want to say, like, I think we called that Detroit's blue line needed adjustments.
We did. Yeah. We let them know.
Yeah. And, like, right now, they're 26th in the NHL with a 7-9-1 record for 15 points.
Mm-hmm.
That's not great, especially a team that had such high expectations coming into the season.
Yeah, for sure. It seemed, it's so... Kind of predicted it, to be honest. I had a feeling they were going to struggle out of the gate and everyone was going to be shocked. Do you think Derek Lalonde's job might be on the line here? You said no last week. What do you think this?
I did say no last week, but if this continues, it's gonna get hot.
Yeah.
I don't think they fire him before Christmas, though. If you're asking that.
I don't think so either. I think he's going to be like an end of the season firing or something like that.
Yeah, I can't see them like mid-season firing Lalonde. I don't think that's how the Red Wings operate. Yeah, and like I don't know. I do want to say this: Cam Talbot, Alex Lyon are playing very good hockey right now.
Oh yeah, the goalies aren't the problem, which is really weird because that was part of the issue last year, and now it seems like it's actually okay. Talbot looks
good. Wonder where that was in Ottawa. Talbot.
Yeah. I was wondering when you were going to give him some credit.
Yeah. But yeah, he's looked very well. But like when Talbot's playing very well, he can't get goal support.
Yeah. Kind of seems like that's just how it is right now. Lucas Raymond, 1 goal so far this season. I do think though, like he is putting up assists, which is a good thing. But again, like you do want some goals there too. I gotta pull up the other numbers to see who else.
Larkin's playing very well. I would say Larkin's been probably the best player on that forward core all
Yeah,
season.
yeah, they have positives. It's just like it seems like defensively they just really have
It
issues. Their
seems
goal
like
gets tied for first in
yeah,
points.
like right now the negatives outweigh the positives for the Red Wings.
Right. Do you think realistically, if this team is out of a playoff spot by the trade deadline, do you think that Patrick Kane and Tarasenko is going to go?
They'll definitely get interest on both
Yeah, they will.
because
Oh, for sure.
Kane and Tarasenko also have another year left on their contracts. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
So
I think they're no Tarasenko. I think was a 2 year extension. I think Kane's a 1 year.
yeah, so they're gonna get calls on both.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's definitely going to be something you want to look at for sure.
The Red Wing, like, there's still time for them to turn it around, but like right now, it's not looking great.
The point gap between them and Boston is not that far. Like
It's
hypothetically,
free. It's four
they could win
points.
their next two. What?
Yeah, it's
Yes,
4 point gap.
they could win their next two and be tied for third in the Atlantic. That's kind of just how close it is right
I
now.
do want to mention that Boston has played the most games in the Atlantic Division,
Right.
and it's only a 4 point gap. So
Exactly.
yeah,
So I just want to mention with these four teams, like Detroit's the first one, and the next three that we're going to mention, they are all a winning streak from being comfortably in a spot or a losing streak away from being far out. So
yeah,
it really is lying on a lot of these teams right now to go on a win streak and run away with this
yeah.
run away with the Atlantic or
Well,
not.
let's talk about Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo, they've been very streaky this year.
Buffalo, where you look at Buffalo started the year obviously in what was it? Where they were Czech, Germany,
Check, yeah,
Czechia.
check.
Sorry, yeah. So they started the season there. It was a rough start, and then they went on a bit of a heater. Now they're back down. They went back up, then back down. So Buffalo can't find consistency in their game. Right now they are 23rd in the NHL with an 8-9-1 record for 17 points.
Yeah, again, as I said, they're one of those teams where they're a winning streak away from running away in that Atlantic. It's just a matter of when. But the issue is though is that Tage Thompson is injured, so he was actually looking
He was
good too
looking
for them.
really good. He was looking like he was back. Yeah.
He was almost a point per game.
It's a big,
Um,
and then Matthias Samuelson's also injured. Which, if you want to talk about a contract that everyone said was great, but I don't want to. I'm going both with my own horn here. I said it was a bad contract, and I'm right on that. So, but getting back to Buffalo, yeah, they've had some injuries happen. Tage being out is not great long term. I think Darlene missed a little bit of time too.
he did get hurt in training camp. I don't
Yeah.
think he missed time though.
Okay. So,
Can we talk about Dylan Cousins?
oh my God,
Do
brother,
you know? Do you know how bad it is? He has 7 points in 18 games so far this year.
brother, get it together.
Yeah.
And he just signed a
Uh,
contract extension.
right. So in 22-23 that year the Sabres came so damn close to making it. He had a 31 goal season for 68 points. The following year he fell off a cliff, only had 47 points, less than 20 goals. So far this year he only has 3 goals and 7 points. The fall off is crazy. I think a lot of it though is Tage Thompson. Playing with Tage Thompson really made him play very well in that season.
Yeah, I mean, good. You surround yourself with good players. You're gonna play well. And
Yeah.
when Cousins is away from Thompson, it's rough.
Since then, it's been wildly inconsistent. I will say this: Paterka looks good.
But Turker looks really good. Like,
Paterka's a big plus at the very least. Ryan McLeod looks not that bad either. He has 12 points so far this year already, so that doesn't look terrible. But Cousins, get it together.
and then Yeah, look at goaltending too. Like UPL, he looks shaky. Same with Levi looks shaky as well.
they both need to pick it up.
Yeah.
It's not good enough. It's just simply not good enough. With the blue line they have in front of them, like their blue line on paper is not that terrible. They got to pick it up.
Yeah. Like, I think Buffalo can compete, but if they keep going like this, going up, down, they're gonna finish the year like
500.
like 35, like 35, 35, and 12. Like,
Where they've been the last few seasons, honestly.
yeah,
Where they've been the last couple of years.
like at 500 or just below 500.
Yeah, it's either that they're like shaky and they're like a roller coaster, or they start off slow and then end off strong. Like it again, like we're gonna talk about this a lot. Like you got to start your season good. Like a lot of the time, if you don't start your season good, you're in trouble.
Yeah, and this is
So
kind of like the next team who has not started fast ever and ever.
the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah. It's funny. The Jets broke their record for the best start to a season, which I found fucking hilarious. Oh, excuse my language.
Oh, way to go! His inner anger got to him. Sorry, kid.
Yeah, the Ottawa Senators. Well, if I got one thing to say, it just like cannot put it together. Like it is so inconsistent. Ottawa is right now 8-1 for 17 points and for 5th place in the Atlantic Division. They are currently 2 points out from Boston for the last wild card spot.
Yeah, they have just been again. They're a little bit like Buffalo. They're kind of a little bit streaky to start this year so far. So let's look through November so far for them. So they start off with a 2-1 loss to the Rangers. Then they shut out Seattle 3-0. Then they lose to Buffalo 5-1. They lose to the Islanders 4-2. Then they start winning a little bit, go on a 3-game point streak, beat Boston, beat Toronto, lose to Philly in overtime. Then they got shut out on Saturday by the Hurricanes yesterday. So yeah, it's been a little on and off for them so far. They've kind of been a little bit streaky, which November's been very famous as their month of where they just shit the bed. But so far, it hasn't really been that.
Yeah, I do want to say that like right now their record is where they kind of were last year at this point.
Yeah, but then again, they missed a lot of November because they had the Global Series. I made that joke a ton where they just gave Ottawa November off because of how shit they are in the past.
And then December's when the collapse really started to happen.
Yeah. That's when DJ Smith lost his job and everything transpired from there.
Like Ottawa, I will say Ottawa hasn't had a fully healthy lineup this season except for Game 1. Because Perron just came back yesterday. Pinto missed time. Allmark missed time. Who else? I think McEwen missed a little bit of time. There's someone else who missed time. I'm blanking on it. But Greg missed time. Greg missed a little time as well. So you look at Ottawa, like you haven't been healthy. That's not an excuse, but it's just they haven't been at full strength. They can't piece the longest win streak they've had is 2.
Yeah, kind of crazy to be honest. Well, Tim Stützle's been a big positive.
Stützle's been a huge positive. Kachuk's been a huge positive. The reemergence of Norris, Batterson's been really cooking.
Yeah, Norris. It makes me happy to see Norris playing.
The resurgence of Nick Jensen.
Adam got it.
Yeah, Adam got it. Like, there's so many positives on this team. Yet, like, when the team's playing well, goaltending sucks. When goaltending's playing well, they suck. They suck. They can't get any goal support.
Right now, Linus Ullmark has a 4-4-1 record, a 2.77, a .890. Not good enough.
Not good enough. And like he's had some great games. I would say he's been good, but he's not consistent.
Yeah. Forsberg, let me pull up his stats real quick. I just closed out by accident. Forsberg currently stands at he has a 2.76 goals against average. So far this season, he is also has a .903. So he's been actually better than Ullmark. Has 2 shutouts on the year. But simply being put, a .903 and a .890 as your overall team percentage is not good enough. It needs to get better.
Exactly.
They are lucky to be 500 at this point with that goaltending.
They're very lucky to be 500, and like the schedule does not get easier. This November schedule, like, there's a gauntlet. Like this week and next week, it's a gauntlet. Tuesday, Edmonton.
Those are at home though. They're
on a 4-game homestand. So the next 5 are Edmonton, Vegas, which I will be attending, Vancouver, Calgary, which I will be attending, and then at San Jose.
Yeah, then they go on that road trip.
The California road trip. So, like, Edmonton's not easy. Vegas, they almost beat them in Vegas. They collapsed on that one. Vancouver's not an easy opponent, and Calgary's playing really well. And San Jose is San Jose. But
yeah, doesn't get easier. Gotta at least go 500 down that stretch.
Like, honestly, 2-1, I'll take it.
Yeah, honestly. All right, let's move on from the Ottawa Senators to the Boston Bruins, who I would say has been the most surprising team in this division, just because of how meh they've been.
I do want to say to Boston fans, the sky is falling. Being 500 is somehow worse than being bad. I just find Boston fans are really reacting to them. You're in a playoff spot. Smile. Be happy.
Well, they're usually used to being like over.
Yeah, I know.
Having like 2 losses at this point, because again, the last 2 seasons they started off like undefeated instead of losing their first game.
It's almost like their starting goalie missed the entire training camp, and that really is not a recipe for success.
Yeah, it's almost like that is an issue.
Up front scoring's been an issue. Depth scoring is surprisingly doing lights. Like
it's the weirdest thing.
Big casting, like
problem. Their biggest problem the last how long, LeBlanc? Like the last 5 years
has been depth scoring. Yeah,
and suddenly Justin Brazeau looks good. Cole Cook looks good. Mark Kastelik looks good. Beecher looks solid. It's the top guys that aren't really producing. Pasternak looks good. Marchand looks solid. Lindholm, slow. Zacha, slow. Like, it's insane. And they're lucky to be 500 too, because they have had a lot of periods, and they've been absolutely horrendous in the third period this season. They have had a couple periods where they haven't had a shot in 20 minutes. Like that game against Ottawa.
I think they're bottom 10 in third period efficiency and third period scoring.
Wild. Absolutely wild.
I'll be honest, did I expect Boston to be 17th in the NHL at this point of season? No! I don't think anybody did. I think we expected them to be closer to maybe 10th or 9th in the NHL. Or even a top 5 team.
What if I told you that Korpisalo has a better record right now than Swayman does?
I'm very aware of that because it's just brought up every day how Ottawa should have kept Korpisalo. Go away.
3-2-1, a 2.74 and a .901. Swayman is, as the stats load real quick, he is a 5-6 and 2, 3.35 and a .88.
.88. Oh my god.
Needs to be better. It's the same rhetoric we've heard with these last 3 teams. Needs to be better. It's not good enough.
No win in the NHL is easy. Nothing in the NHL is easy. You need, and I think for Boston, they've been to the playoffs. They know what it takes. They know what they have to do.
Mm-hmm.
For teams like Ottawa, Buffalo, and Detroit, they haven't been there. They're hungry. So if Boston keeps playing this, those hungry teams are going to come up and snatch you.
Exactly. A lot of runway left in the season still, but they need to start picking it up soon. Can't be 500 by Thanksgiving. That's not good enough.
Mm-hmm. And then, I'm just going to quickly go over the top 3 teams. These are the cream of the crop here of the Atlantic.
Yeah.
Because, I do want to say that they've played 3 less games, but Tampa is the same record as Boston.
Are they?
Well, the same points. Sorry, same amount of points as Boston. They're 9-6-1, but they played 3 less games than Boston. That's a nice lead there. Toronto has played the same amount of games as Boston, but they're 11-6-2 for 24 points. And Florida is 12-5-1 for 25 points and first in the Atlantic Division. All these teams are playing so much better right now than.
100%.
Yeah.
There's a massive gap between the top 3 teams and the other teams.
I would say Florida, Toronto, gap, Tampa, gap, Boston, Ottawa, Detroit, Buffalo, gap, Montreal.
Yeah. This whole division is crazy outside of the top. I would say top 2. To be honest. 3's fine.
Are we surprised that you look at the point percentage, Boston and Ottawa are 500. Buffalo is 4-7-2. Detroit is 4-4-1. Montreal is 3-8-9.
If you told me that we are almost at American Thanksgiving and Ottawa and Boston have essentially the same record, I would have laughed in your face. Seriously.
Yeah. Don't blame me there. The Atlantic Division for I'm looking at the wild card stand right now. You have New York, the Rangers are in the wild card spot. That's how strong the Metro has been right now. Like the Metro right now, Carolina, New Jersey, 26 points each. Washington at 23, New York at 21. And then you have Philly, who's just a point behind Boston, and less games played.
Yeah, they've come back. They've made a huge comeback.
You jinxed them.
I did freaking jinx them. I'm actually so done with this team. They go from James Hagan season 2 playoffs. I've had enough. All right,
fucking playoffs.
I don't want to talk about the Flyers. I can't do it. Even though they are playing well, I can't do it. Okay, let's move into our next topic here. This one will be a little bit of a shorter one. The Atlantic one took up a lot of our time, but we're going to talk about arguably the two best defensemen in the NHL right now, Cale Makar and Adam Fox. Now, Cale Makar and Adam Fox. Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes. Sorry, not Adam Fox. It once was Adam Fox. But basically the reason why we're bringing this up is we're going to ask the question, which of those two defensemen are better? And this really striked me because I made my defenseman tier list on my YouTube channel this past week, and I had a lot of comments of people saying that Quinn Hughes is better than Cale Makar. Now, that may just be Canucks fans rating my comment section, but honestly, I think there is an argument there for Quinn Hughes to be better than Cale Makar. But I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm leaning Cale Makar. I don't know where the blocks are.
I'm going to say right now, I'm going to say recency bias is a very serious thing. There's an argument for Quinn Hughes being better than Cale Makar, but for me personally, this isn't an argument. You could bring up certain. I think Quinn Hughes says stuff better than Cale Makar, but I think Cale Makar, as overall, is a better defenseman.
Really? Okay. So let me read off their stat lines here real quick, and I'll read off their awards and how they've gone season by season. So, first off, career-wise, Cale Makar has played 333 games played, has 92 goals, 269 assists for 361 points. Quinn Hughes, on the other hand, has played 381 games, has 46 goals, 304 assists, 150 points. So far, Cale Makar has one Stanley Cup, has a Calder, has one Conn Smythe, and one Norris. Quinn Hughes has just one Norris. So keep that in mind.
I do want to mention that Makar beat out Quinn Hughes for the Calder.
He did. Yes, he
but
did. You know who was the other guy that was a finalist too?
It was a forward, wasn't it?
Yeah. He played for Ottawa.
Oh, it's not Norris. It was
No, it's not Norris.
He played for, it was Chikrin, isn't it? No, it's not.
Chikrin.
No, did he play for Ottawa or he played for Ottawa?
He's a forward and he played for Ottawa.
Was he nominated when he got was he nominated as an Ottawa Senator?
No.
Okay. Then we got some.
At least I think he did.
It's not Duclair, is it?
Nope.
Great. Now I'm gonna be stumped on this for a while.
Hang on a second. Let me make sure I got it right. Yeah, I do have it right. You want to know, or do you want to think a little bit more?
No. We got so much to talk about. Let's give it to me.
Dominic Kubalik.
Oh my God, that guy.
That's easily forgot about that he actually played for Ottawa.
I keep forgetting that he had that 30-goal year with Chicago. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's look season by season here to kind of put it into perspective a little bit. So, again, Quinn Hughes has technically played more games than Cale Makar, but that's because Quinn Hughes has played more seasons than Cale Makar. But I think it shows how more impressive what Cale Makar has done through his entire career. So he started off, again, his Calder-winning season at 50 points in 57 games played. Then he went on from the 2020-21 season where he had 44 points. He puts up 86 in 21-22, 66 in 22-23, 90 in 23-24, and so far this year has 25 points. Quinn Hughes, it feels like he took longer to get to that elite status that he's at right now. In his first season, 53 points. Actually, I think that's a little more than Cale Makar, but I think Makar edged him out overall in the overall other analytics. In the shortened season, 41 points. In 21-22, only had 68. 22-23, 76. 23-24, 92. That was his big Norris season. And so far this year, he has 17 points. But I think he's the fastest defenseman, or the third fastest defenseman to reach 300 points in his career.
Yeah, I feel like that Quinn Hughes is better offensively than Cale Makar. And I'm not afraid to say that. I think Cale Makar, on every other aspect of his game, is probably better than Quinn Hughes. I can confidently say that.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the comment. Okay. Yeah, third fastest defenseman reach 300 assists, not 300 points. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. But, yeah, I still think Makar's better. Makar has more hardware. Makar, again, you could say that, Makar's played on better teams. Okay.
That's an argument, but Makar also, if Makar didn't get injured last year, Makar very well may have won the Norris. Quinn Hughes had a bet. I don't want to take that away from Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes had a very, very, very good season last year. But
Quinn Hughes didn't miss any games last year.
Yeah, but if Makar doesn't get hurt, there arguably Makar could have got that Norris.
The other factor is too, Makar has had more injury problems than Hughes has. Like, you look at the games played, like in every, you know what's crazy? Cale Makar's never played a full season. Never. Not even in the COVID years, not since he's come into the NHL. He's always missed at least 5 games.
Makar is a little fragile, to say he does get hurt like every year basically.
Now, Quinn Hughes, before this season, was actually the same instance.
Yeah.
But he's actually played more games in those seasons than Makar has. Like in 22-23, Makar only played like 60 games. Hughes played almost the full season.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that's what you guys fact. And even in those less games, like again, Hughes has almost 50 more games than Makar, and Makar has still more points than him. I think that speaks a lot of volume.
Yeah.
Again, early in their careers, but I'm leaning Cale Makar right now.
Okay.
So that's where I'll stand. All right, last topic for you guys today, and LeBlanc has a bone to pick with rules and referees.
Very, very good terminology to say there. I do have a bone to pick.
Before we get into what this mainly is, LeBlanc, tell us what triggered what you want to have this conversation.
So it's triggered. So we're watching the Hurricanes game, right? Basically, Otto got a goal called back for interference when, believe it or not, no one was touched. No one got interfered with. They just called it back because I don't know. I can't. I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna be that guy. Oh, the refs have it out for us. Like I really don't believe that. I just feel like that's some bullshit. But this really sparked a conversation online about officiating and about goals. So I'm going to lead off this conversation with, in the NFL, every scoring play is reviewed. In the NHL, every scoring play should be reviewed. And I'm going to give you my reason for this, because, first of all, if every scoring play is reviewed, you don't need the challenge.
It's actually very true.
You don't need the challenge. So that challenge goes away, and that way you could see if there's a penalty on the play, you could call it. It gets called back. If it's not in the net, call back. There's none of this. And like in the NFL, if it's called a goal, a touchdown on the field, or a goal on the ice, it would be harder to overturn that.
Right.
So I think everything should go through the command center at Toronto, because challenges take a lot of time. You're gonna have arguments with the officials after. So if it goes through Toronto, it kind of negates all that. Now, could you still challenge a rule from Toronto? I think you can. That is something that I think should be instilled. I think if you do keep the challenge, though, you should be able to challenge if it's a penalty or not.
I agree with that. I have a few bones that I want to pick. The first one's kind of an obvious one. It's the fact that we need to shorten review time, like video review. I feel like a lot of the time, like the video review sometimes will take forever. Like it'll take at least like 2, 3, even sometimes like 4 or 5 minutes to review, and that kind of takes the energy out of the game. I think that kind of takes the
Momentum.
pace
Yeah,
out
because
of the
a lot of teams get
game.
momentum, and then when they're reviewing that momentum can shift very quickly.
Exactly. I think at least in the regular season, you should have a limited amount of time to decide a play. From the moment the refs look on that iPad, give them like a minute and a half. If they can't figure it out in a minute 30 or a minute, inconclusive.
Yeah.
Call state. That's what I think.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I feel like, first of all, they're like,
In the playoffs, yeah.
in the playoffs, though, it's fine. I think playoffs, that's fine. But like regular season, like, we have so much, like, there's a reason we have 5-minute overtime, because we got to get this shit over with. We got to get out of here. Like, we got to get out of here.
There's 8 freaking games in a regular
Yeah.
season. In the playoffs, I understand longer review because you want to get that right. That's when it really matters. But I think in terms of a lot of the time, a meaningless regular season game, I think that you should at least have a timer on it. I also think there needs to be a better way to determine goalie interference. I don't know how you do it,
Yes.
but it's just so insanely inconsistent. And, it can't be like the Brett Hull rule, where you can not go in the crease and then end up having someone go in the crease and winning the Stanley Cup and have over 100 goals caught off. Just, there needs to be a way for it to be consistent. There have been so many calls where there have been goalie interference calls on plays where it's not goalie interference at all, and there have been so many calls where there wasn't goalie interference where it's blatantly obvious there's goalie interference.
Yeah, and like we've seen like I thought I've seen it all. I'm like, oh, that's definitely goalie interference, and then they call it no, it's fine. I've seen some where like that's not goalie interference, and they call it goalie interference. So they really, really, really need to be more consistent on that, and I feel like the NHL really needs to just overhaul the whole review system. I think that's a different conversation for a different day, though.
Oh, we could talk about this for forever.
Yeah.
We're just talking about like referee rules and things like that. I could go on and talk about how we need to get rid of the shootout or extend overtime.
No, I think that's one of my next point. I think overtime should be 10 minutes. 3-on-3. I could watch 3-on-3 overtime for 10 minutes, and I love it's the most nerve-wracking thing in the season is 3-on-3 overtime.
Isn't it like that in World Juniors?
Yes, I believe so.
Watching Bedard versus Slovakia at the time for those 10 minutes, that was pretty incredible, honestly. So
yeah, we could
get into the NHL, and then at the end, tie. Fine with the tie at the end. But
I do want to say in not junior hockey, but in like before junior, like they do this thing, beer league basically. I know it's never going to the NHL where after the end of 10-minute overtime or 15-minute overtime, you get to choose the home team gets to choose a shooter, and if they don't score, they lose.
I agree with that too. Actually,
like it will never happen in the NHL because it seems like such a bush league way of deciding a game.
Yeah, that seems like a beer league.
Yeah, it'll never happen. It'd be cool, but it's not gonna happen. But like stuff like that. Like here's the thing. I always believe this though that no sporting event should end in a tie. I'm gonna say what my dad used to say to me as a kid. Ties are for bitches.
How do you feel about the loser point?
That's something this is something I'm very strong about. The loser point is ass. So the loser point really, I think we should go to the 3-2-1 system.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, records will be broken. That's if you switch that system, records will be shattered.
Oh, 100%.
But if I get 2 points, if I go to overtime, why should my opponent get a point for just sticking with me the whole? Like in the Ottawa Philly game, Philly arguably did not deserve. Well, Ottawa arguably should have got the 2 points, but they got the 1. But like teams that are just like lugging along and losing overtime. I don't want to point fingers, but the Islanders. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, the Islanders are a big culprit.
The Islanders are culprit, but like if you switch it to 3-2-1, winning in regulation has way more meaning.
100%.
So if you need that regulation win, arguably, what we could see is people pulling the goalie.
Yeah, like everyone's going to be doing what John Tortorella did.
Yeah, so like I think that's the big thing. I think eventually that's what's going to come to. Not on the recent. I think once Bettman is gone, that system might come back into play.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
This goes into another whole like commissioner talk, which I'm not even gonna speak on or get into. That's a whole other conversation. Like I said before,
that's an off-season topic.
Yeah.
I don't know why we don't talk about that stuff in the off-season.
But
going back to goalie interference, I had to scroll back way far in my TikTok to try and find a goalie interference call that like always resonates in my mind of how ridiculous it is. It doesn't result in a goal, but it's like a goalie interference penalty. So basically it's a game against the Panthers and the Avalanche where a Panther trips an Avalanche player and he slides into Bobrovsky makes clear contact with Bobrovsky, and the refs were like, "Oh, that's a goalie interference," even though the guy tripped him before. Like that just breaks my brain how they call goalie interference sometimes, whether it's on goals or not on goals. It's actually crazy.
There's one that resonates with me in the COVID season where Montreal's playing Ottawa in the COVID year, and Gallagher presumably shoots and gets the game-winning goal with like a second to go.
Yeah.
It was called that. I think it was Paul Byron was in front of Murray, and Paul Byron like touches Murray, and like it looked like it was like, and Murray couldn't get back. I'll be honest with me. Now years gone by, that probably isn't goalie interference, but they call it GI Ottawa, and the game goes to overtime. Ottawa wins the game.
Yeah, for sure. All right, LeBlanc, do you have anything else?
No.
Nope. All right, well, that's all we got for this episode of the Nord and Block podcast. LeBlanc, any final thoughts?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Well, that'll conclude it for this episode of the Nord and Block podcast. Thank you guys very much for watching or listening. Subscribe on the YouTube. Follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. I'm Nord. That's Block. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Ciao.
I just do what I do. See me? I just do what I do. Man, I just do what I do. To know about you, I just do what I do. Check. That's the intro. See that? Yeah. I just do what I do. See me? I just do what I do. Yo, check. Let me flip this script. I feel privileged for all who can witness this. I am close to divine. Know the moment is mine, need no omen or sign. Providing a back sound to all the squares that ask around. Be getting it, my skills pay me. Trying to get a million, baby, with an adopted flow that God gave me. Tell whoever runners that they spot is temporary till I take it, it's mine. I'm selfish, your will. Tell Miss I'm on my wealth tip. So when we cash out soon, I'm just investing. Hey, no yes men. I've been a legend since before mom and dad had me and was best friends. I chew through comp, don't test them. I chew on tracks, cause after that I bless them. I just do what I do. You see me? I just do what I do. I just do what I do. I don't know about you. I just do what I do. Check.